in Audubon Park and Zoo, named for renowned artist and naturalist John James Audubon, who called New Orleans home in the 1820s. His paintings feature lavish displays of birds, along with plants and flowers. Across the Pacific, Jonathan Vigliotti has found a very different way to display flowers.
From its golden sun to its turquoise surf, Hawaii can always take your breath away. But it's these colors that may dazzle the most.
So this is where you go picking for your color palette.
This is puakeni, and it's a really valued flower in Hawaii.
The island's exquisite array of flowers, harvested by Hawaii native Meliana Estes for the ancient tradition of lei-making.
Is there a key to picking these flowers?
Yes, so we usually pick them just right under hands, like a little snap right under the bulb. And then we leave them this way until we're ready to sew our lei.
Hawaiians have been proudly sewing leis for more than 1,000 years, a tradition introduced by early Polynesian settlers who wore the garlands around the neck or head as a gesture of respect for the gods.
Welcome to my home.
Thank you. What does it mean when you give someone a lei?
A lei is your expression of aloha, your love. You're caring for someone, you're congratulating someone, you're welcoming someone.
When is it appropriate to give someone a lei?
All the time. At all times.
Really?
Yeah.
Always?
Completely always, I think.
Estes learned the intricate art of lei-making from her grandmother, or tutu, and published a book to celebrate her traditions.
By me, it was like, osmosis, sort of. My tutu was an avid lei maker. It's just what you do. It's just part of the rhythm of your family.
Estes makes these incredible creations for friends and family, using just a long needle and thread. A single lei can use 300 individual flowers.
Plumeria, this is a really fun, I love this rainbow
beautiful.
plumeria. This is the classic yellow plumeria lei.
This smells like you can eat it.
I know, that one's
really
crazy. I know, that one's so strong.
Beautiful,
And then we
very
have crown flower, which is...
With dozens of flower species used for leis, the designs are endless and extraordinary.
All of the colors in the rainbow.
As we saw at the annual Lei Day Festival, held in Waikiki every May 1st since 1929.
This is gorgeous. What's the inspiration?
We have a lei papali, and I thought I would just do something fun and wild.
Each year, more than 100 master lei makers enter their work for the chance of being crowned Best in Show by judges including Jamie Adams Detweiler.
I'm looking to see that they stay true to the lei method. I'm looking at also what feeling that lei brings to me, the essence of the lei.
This year's winner, this elegant design, an ornate lei woven with berries and flowers. But while lei making remains popular, its future could be in peril. Suburban sprawl has paved over many flower farms, and climate change has overheated remaining land. An estimated 90% of flowers used in leis are now imported from countries like Thailand.
And through these doors is where
Is
you
the
make
flower
lei.
room, yeah. So this is where all the magic happens.
Oh, wow, yeah. I mean, there's endless colors here.
Andrew Mao owns a small Oahu boutique called Island Boy, where he makes leis from mostly family-sourced flowers.
Everybody's personal lei making stash has just been reduced.
On top of that, Mao says, a lei only lasts around 2 or 3 days, which has added more stress on the island's dwindling flower stock and forced him to adapt.
I've seen a lot of lei over the past few days, probably hundreds. Yours is very different.
We work with what we can get. Sometimes we don't get enough flowers to make a full lei. We've used unripe fruit. We recently had someone bring in like avocados from their tree that they pruned.
Would a traditional lei maker use those
They probably
materials?
cringe when I just said that.
Mao's work is so popular, he regularly sells out. He now makes what he calls a forever lei.
A forever lei is our response to the perishability of flowers. So we work with wood, beads, seeds, shells, nuts, and it doesn't have an expiration date.
The many looks of leis, a symbol of Hawaii's lasting heritage and nature's fleeting beauty.
So what is that like? I mean, you make the most beautiful lei. Knowing that in a day or two,
it'll be
it's done.
I guess that's just the beauty of it, being in the moment with it, and just knowing that you're so fortunate you got to create this and share it, and just enjoying it while you have it.
It's not in Paris, it's in paradise, and it's truly a one-of-a-kind competition. With Lee Cowan, we head off to Hawaii to take in the Olympics of hula.
It was one of those predictably perfect sunsets on the big island of Hawaii, where along with the swaying palms came the swaying hips of hula. Guests here at the Waikoloa Beach Marriott were treated to it all: the performance, the pork, and the poi. And yet the tourist experience of this Polynesian spectacle can't really begin to capture the deep meaning behind each of those ancient movements. At its core, hula is about story. Long before written language, hula's chants were the living archives of a people's history and traditions.
It's storytelling, it's mo'olelo, which is storytelling in Hawaiian. And it's a way for us to express all these stories from ancient times through moving our hips, moving our feet, through hand motions.
Kiki Kamale Kaluheamoto was born in Hilo, on the windward side of the Big Island. Her twin passions, surfing and hula, were both born in Hawaii.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Kianti Kamaile Kaluheamoto.
But this past year, Kiki put surfing aside to set her sights on a high-stakes competition that some call the Olympics of hula.
Are you excited or nervous?
Now I'm more excited than I'm nervous.
Yeah.
I think a month ago, if you asked me that, I would have said I was more nervous than excited.
This is the Merry Monarch Festival. Every spring for the past 61 years. 24 or more of the best hula schools from all around the world come here to Hilo to compete in 2 categories. There's traditional hula and modern hula. The whole town comes alive for the week-long celebration. There's a grand parade, there's Hawaiian crafts and Hawaiian food. But make no mistake, the Merry Monarch is less about a party and more about honoring hula with the dignity and reverence it has so long been denied. Hula has certainly been through a lot. Cultural appropriation in movies and tacky dashboard decor were only the most recent indignities.
When people would ask me, what do? I wouldn't say I was a hula teacher, because 9 times out of 10, the response would be, oh, you do the hula? Do you wear a grass skirt? Over and over. But I would say within the last decade or so, there's been a shift.
Patrick Makuakane grew up in Hawaii. He competed in the Merry Monarch himself, in fact, back in the day. He says interest in Hawaiian traditions is growing. He now teaches it in his own halau, that's a hula school, in San Francisco. And for his decades-long effort to preserve Hawaiian culture, he was among the scientists and artists awarded the prestigious MacArthur Foundation Genius Grant last year.
Not bad. I know how important hula is to my life and to the community in which I built, and how transformative it is. But how did they come to understand that?
Perhaps what they understood is that hula might have been lost to history altogether. For generations, Christian missionaries called it a pagan ritual and banned its performance in public. It was the last reigning king of the Hawaiian kingdom, King Kalakaua, who brought the tradition back. And that earned him the nickname, Merry Monarch. It's why he's so honored here. Gen Z Hawaiians, like 18-year-old Tahani Kekuavela, seem especially intent on living out their heritage.
As we act out those scenarios and stories of the past, we're also connecting to ancestors of Hawaii and of this place. I feel that power, that mana, through the dance.
That said, it's hardly easy.
It takes a lot of work to look effortlessly beautiful on stage.
Some of you guys look like you're half sleeping. Yeah, wake up. Welcome to practice.
That's Tahani and Kiki's hula teacher. Casey Kaleohano is a hula master, or kumahula, in Hawaii.
We don't care if you're tired. It cannot look like you're tired.
She's tough, like any mentor would be.
In hula, you are using all parts of your body. And sometimes it will go slow, and sometimes the beat will pick up and be quick. It is very physical.
It's a lot of up and down movement with my legs, so my legs, of course, are always sore.
Kiki is also competing solo for the title of Miss Aloha.
Being by myself up there and knowing that I have to use the whole stage. So even though it seems short, it's when you're dancing, it feels like forever.
The fact that we were able to witness any of this was pretty remarkable. Kumas are fiercely protective of their halau, especially when outsiders like us come calling.
I think there are parts of hula that are definitely very sacred, and there are certain things that we don't talk about and we don't share because those are held for people who are practicing the tradition of hula.
It took a little bit of convincing, but we were finally permitted to see the real spirituality of hula, like Kiki and Casey offering a silent prayer of gratitude before picking the tropical treasures that would adorn their heads and necks during the competition.
Are they hard to find?
Not on this island.
You'll find them.
The morning of the performance, that support and that care continued.
I know that we're going to keep going strong. No matter how old we get, no matter where we go, we'll always have hula to come back to.
Kiki and Tahani's halau did well, but not well enough to win. But that didn't seem to matter. What they had done was what has always been done on these islands, honoring a people and a place in ways that, thankfully today, now appear to be timeless.
Despite everything that's happened in our history, I think it's definitely a statement to show how distinct and just amazing Hawaiians are.
It's believed the very first surfboards date back to Peru some 5,000 years ago. As Tracy Smith tells us, surfboard design has come a long way.
Nope, we're not in Kansas anymore. Surfing off the California coast is as popular as it's ever been. From the party wave riders at Malibu to the folks chillin' at Doheny, where you can sit for hours in the lineup, just waiting for the right wave.
And for that, you need just the right board. This one is big and wide, made out of foam. It's great for surfing little waves like this. In fact, just about anyone could ride it. But in surfing, it wasn't always that way.
Surfing was once a sport reserved for Hawaiian royalty, who rode the waves on boards of solid wood that were long, narrow, and majestically heavy.
It's 140 pounds.
140 pounds? So how did they even get it out to the beach?
If you're royalty, they carry it for you.
Patty Paniccia used to surf for a living, one of the few female pro surfers back in the 1970s, when the surfing world was mostly a boys' club. Here she was at a contest in Hawaii, cranking a perfect bottom turn on a big wave. And, well, she had to be a pretty good swimmer, too.
This board would be about the 1940s. It's the first
Today, she's a trustee of the Surfing Heritage and Culture Center.
It's got some mahogany
in San Clemente.
It's got a little more shape than the older ones, right?
Yes, it does.
And this looks like it's heavy too.
Oh, it's not as heavy. I think this is about 55 pounds.
Still.
Yeah.
By the late 50s, boards got shorter and lighter.
Let's go!
And surfing had taken its place in the popular culture. Surfboard maker Hobie Alter, who started making boards with lightweight balsa wood, switched to polyurethane foam and helped take the sport to the next level. Hobie's Dana Point, California store is still thriving, and his namesake Hobie surfboards are still made the old school way. Shaper Gary Larson starts with a blank piece of foam and custom carves it for a surfer's specific needs. He'll angle the sides or rails to help a board stay put on a steep wave face, sharpen the nose for high-performance turns, or carve a wider tail for stability.
These are stringers, so these are wood.
Some boards have thin strips of wood, called stringers, running down the middle for added stiffness and style. This model runs around $1,800, but each surfboard is different.
I've had boards that I've tried to duplicate for myself, and each board has its own characteristics.
It's like snowflakes, no two are alike when they're
agree.
hand-shaped.
Yeah, it's a good analogy.
Don't get me wrong, you can buy a machine-made board too, like the one I'm paddling here. They're often cheaper and easier to ride. But they'll never have that certain something that a shaper puts into a board when they're making one just for you.
I'm going to ask you a hippy-dippy question now. Do these boards speak to you?
That's a common question. Yeah, I guess I do feel like there's a little more soul in a hand-shaped board.
Of course, no matter how good a surfboard's design, it's only as good as the surfer and the waves that day. And every one of those is different too.
It's a magical island with surprises galore. Time for a treasure hunt with Martha Teichner.
So you've taken the ferry from the mainland, and you're hiking one of Block Island's more than 30 miles of trails. And then, what in the world?
I got
Bingo! You've just become one of the lucky ones.
7 years! Oh my God!
People who, since 2012, have been finding Block Island's hidden treasure. Hand-blown glass orbs like these.
Beautiful.
It was all Eben Horton's idea. He and his wife Jennifer Knock are glass artists in the village of Wakefield on the Rhode Island coast.
When the economy slowed down, it was hard to sell my glass. So I came up with this idea to make glass floats, hide them on Block Island, and whoever found them could keep them. I think the first year we made 150.
Now they make 550.
It's sort of incredible, the life that it's taken on.
And float hunting has become one of Block Island's biggest tourist attractions. Eben etches the number and the year on each one. Most of them are clear, but the first few, 22 and 2022, are colored. Number 1 is always special.
This is float number 1.
In 2021, this glass version of a lobster buoy.
You want to try it?
Sure. To my amazement.
So grab it right about there.
Here?
Yeah.
The one I was allowed to make
Perfect.
turned out all right.
And I could hide one right there, or right there.
The orbs get hidden only on public land, a few at a time between early June and mid-October. The places call out to you.
Yes.
At first, Eben and Jen could just head over with a backpack full of floats, or orbs, in broad daylight, and hide them without attracting attention. Not anymore. Are you looking for something?
Oh, I'm always looking for orbs.
Oh.
Isn't everybody?
So many people recognize Eben now, and even stalk him, that like Santa, he's got helpers. You've been a hider.
I have.
A secret
We're
society.
a secret society, exactly. Well, it does start the first weekend in June. So
Jessica Willey is head of the Block Island Tourism Council, which helps subsidize the cost of the glass float project.
So we'll go to register a float.
She also oversees the website where finders register their finds.
So just gets people out on the trails and enjoying the beauty, the natural beauty of Block Island.
It's only 7 miles long and 3 miles wide, but nearly half of it is protected open space, meaning loads of stunning hiding spots. The question is, how long will the orbs stay hidden?
And there's probably about 5,000 to 10,000 people looking in a year, I'd say. People that want one really want one.
Or more than one.
Well, this is the Orb Shrine.
People like Jackie and Dave Carpenter. That's a map of Block Island.
Sure is. Yep. It is been made to show where every single orb has been found on the island. 6 orbs so far.
The Carpenters are orbivores, as orb hunters refer to themselves, and a little on the fanatical side.
Generally speaking, it's just the stick is the most important thing anybody who comes out looking, besides having a good attitude and open mind. Out we go.
Lead the way. This is how they spend their vacation every year. Literally beating the bushes.
Remember, the orb will always find you. Yeah, I feel lucky today.
Sure enough, exactly an hour and a half after setting out, Mr. Lucky found himself a float.
No. That's a bingo.
No.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that, a rainbow.
That's beautiful. Remember, thousands of people hunt for years without finding one. So are you done for the year, or do you keep looking?
You're never done.
But according to the rules, you can only keep one per person per year. Here's where float finding gets complicated.
It's literally right there.
Because, what do you know?
Would you like to see what you missed?
What a day! But they'd already found one. So back into hiding it went.
Yeah, it's in there.
Now I promise you, there was nothing rigged about any of this.
Wait, I think I found one.
But guess what?
I found one!
You did find one! Yes!
Yup, me.
Martha, that's so exciting!
2021, number 143.
Yay!
There we go.
What makes a plain glass ball suddenly priceless, with the capacity to bring joy?
Yep.
Right? I don't know.
Awesome.
In that order, too.
P.S. Remember the orb I made? 2 days after I hid it, a woman from just north of New York City, Debbie Kroon, spotted it. She'd been trying to find one for 8 years.
Seeing the statues on Easter Island is something many travelers hope to do someday. Hearing an island song by one of its celebrated residents is what Kelafasane can offer us right now.
Concert pianist Mahani Teave has traveled the world, but Rapa Nui, sometimes known as Easter Island, is her home.
Rapa Nui, that's what we call ourselves here also. That's our people, the Rapa Nui people.
It's a triangle-shaped island about the size of Washington, D.C., but way out in the South Pacific. And it's best known for these statues, called moai. Scholars think they were built to honor the island's elders.
Our ancestors were all voyagers, and maybe that's what's in my blood too, this coming and going.
In the 1700s, Dutch explorers came to Rapa Nui. They landed on Easter, so they called it Easter Island.
Easter Island, that's the English name.
Miki Makihara, a linguistic anthropologist at Queens College in New York, has been studying Rapa Nui culture for 30 years. We're talking about a place that's only been inhabited by humans for maybe 1,000 years.
That is true, right, but a lot has happened.
In the late 19th century, slave raiders from Peru abducted about half the island's population and left behind smallpox, which killed many of the remaining islanders. Only 111 Rapa Nui survived. Nowadays, Rapa Nui is part of Chile, which is the closest mainland, 2,000 miles away.
It's a remarkable history of survival and reconstruction.
Those 111 people kept the language alive and transmitted it to the next generation.
Yeah.
It's a comeback story.
Yes. Yeah.
We descend from those 111.
Mahane Teave was born in Hawaii to an American mother. But her father is from Rapa Nui, and she spent most of her childhood there.
I feel so strongly about the island, and here are my roots. This is where I learned all my first everything.
She still remembers the day she heard that someone had brought something new onto the island, a piano.
We gotta go see that piano, let's go see. So we get to the lady's house and she opens the door. Please, can I go touch your piano? And I don't think she even got a chance to answer. And then after that, I was like, please, please, I want piano lessons.
There were no piano teachers on the island, so Teave asked the woman who owned the piano to give her lessons.
She got a piece of paper out, she drew some lines, and said, these are the notes, go home and learn them. I memorized what each little thing and each little line and space meant. And after a few days, she said, you know what, you can start coming to practice at my house.
In 1992, Teave's family moved to Chile, where she could study at a conservatory. She was 9. Was that a scary time for you?
It was just a very confusing time. And at the same time, there's this possibility to be able to continue with, wonderful music.
When she was 19, she left Chile to continue her studies, first in Cleveland, then Berlin. Soon, she was a celebrated concert pianist.
I would feel soaked with so many wonderful things, going to amazing concerts and interacting with incredible musicians.
Did you always know you wanted to come back to Rapa Nui at some point?
Well, I always felt the connection to the island. What about the children? They don't have any chance to study, and who's ever going to do anything about it?
Teave returned to Rapa Nui a decade ago, and in 2014, she built the island's first music school.
A totally self-sustainable structure built
Last year, it was featured in the documentary Song of Rapa Nui.
We wanted to make an inspiring place, like a message of hope.
The school was constructed using an abundant, unnatural resource, trash.
We are in a garbage vortex. So, garbage from all over the world comes through the currents of the Pacific.
This school, built from garbage, is all about transformation. Are you hoping to find the next great concert pianist on Rapa Nui?
The children have the possibility to develop their talents, but I really think it's important that they cultivate the values, the virtues that are learned when you learn an instrument. You learn perseverance, you learn about teamwork, respect.
Before the pandemic, some people on Rapa Nui were concerned that tourism was damaging the island. Now, Mahane Teave says she's optimistic about the day when visitors can come back.
It's something that needs to find the harmony, because the way it was happening was not harmonious, either to the island, to the people, to the nature. Give them an actual experience of what it really is to be here.
And maybe a concert.
maybe a concert. But we need a concert piano, so.
This is a request from Rapa Nui, is less garbage, more grand pianos.
Exactly, more grand piano.
This pandemic has put a lot of summer vacations on hold. But never fear, our Connor Knighton has sent us a postcard from a faraway place you can visit from home.
A few years ago, I took a trip to the Faroe Islands. Located halfway between Iceland and Norway, the collection of 18 small islands is officially part of the Kingdom of Denmark and is easily one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. I was hoping to go back for a vacation this year, but obviously those plans have changed.
We haven't had any tourists here for the past 7 or 8 weeks, and it looks like it's going to be a very tough summer as well.
Levy Hansen works for the Faroese Tourism Bureau. When we met back in 2017, he mentioned that it can sometimes be challenging to attract visitors to a place most tourists have never heard of.
We realize that we live in a very remote place, and we sometimes have this feeling of being like, David against Goliath.
But Faroe Islands tourism has steadily been on the rise. 2020 was set to be a record-breaking year.
This was definitely going to be our busiest year. We have, 2 new hotels opening up. Doesn't sound a lot, but in the Faroe Islands, that's double.
Hotels is a big deal. I remember we couldn't find a hotel. Those hotel reservations are all canceled now. But once COVID-19 completely shut down tourism, Hansen and his team decided that they would serve as the eyes and ears of those who were forced to put their trips on hold. At remote-tourism.com, you can now guide the Faroese Guides. They've equipped themselves with cameras and headsets and have been live streaming hour-long walks. Every minute, a new person gets the chance to direct their movements from home.
When you press forward, we move forward. When you press left, we turn left. And when you press jump, well, we jump.
Even if you don't get a chance to snag a minute at the controls, it's fun to watch no matter who's in charge. The guides have hopped onto boats,
As a virtual tourist, you can ride
horses, and helicopters.
Bit surreal, really, to know that you're being controlled by a person in a completely different country, many, many miles away.
As you can see, the houses are quite close together.
If there's something you want to get a closer look at,
Running.
a press of the button transmits a live instruction to the guide's earpiece.
Okay.
What's the percentage of helpful versus messing with you? Have people just been making you jump and run left and right? How's that balance?
Yeah, we considered that a lot, before we did this. Most people have been very helpful, but there have been a few cheeky people that have, asked us to run and jump a lot, which is also, it's a part of the fun. It's fine.
I'm not satisfied until I find some sheep. I was one of those cheeky people. When I got my turn at the controls during one of the tours, I couldn't resist putting Levy through his paces.
We're going to walk forward up this way towards the sheep again, which you can see at the top there.
I think it's time to run to those sheep.
Okay, you're going to make me run again?
Yeah.
That's fine.
I'm sorry, buddy.
I will obey your orders.
Left. Good idea.
While the guides will often make suggestions about where they'd like you to steer them,
If you ask me to turn to the left here, I'll show you a beautiful view of...
you're given the final say.
See?
The hope, of course, is that some of these online visitors will turn into in-person visitors one day. And really, what better way to show off a destination than to show that, in the Faroe Islands, it doesn't really matter which way you turn. It all looks beautiful.
What is it? It's breadfruit, a food staple that's on the rise, and Connor Knighton is spreading the word.
Okay, Connor, you ready?
All right, yeah, I'm ready.
Woo,
All
nice
right.
catch.
In the Hawaiian town of Hana, on the island of Maui, bread grows on trees. In a manner of speaking, at least. This is what's known as breadfruit. Typically green and scaly on the outside, white and smooth like squash on the inside, it's a starchy member of the fig family that's similar in taste to a potato and smells like fresh-baked bread when cooked. But outside of Hawaii, you're not likely to come across it in most American grocery stores.
Breadfruit is a tropical tree. It's something that you won't find on the mainland United States, unfortunately, but it's a very important starch to those of the Pacific.
Mike Opgenorth is the director of Kahanu Garden, home to the largest collection of breadfruit trees in the world.
We have 150 varieties of breadfruit, represented by 300 trees.
Believe it or not, none of those trees are native to Hawaii. Just like bananas, coconuts, and sugarcane, breadfruit is what's known as a canoe plant, first brought to Hawaii centuries ago by Polynesian explorers.
Hawaiian culture, Tahitian culture, Samoan, we are all connected, not only through the Pacific, but through ulu. You know,
Ulu is the Hawaiian word for breadfruit. Hawaiian Ipo Milo grew up eating it. Breadfruit's reach expanded in the 1700s when Europeans took the tree from Tahiti to their Caribbean colonies.
You've given your last command, Bly.
You may recall the infamous 1789 mutiny on the HMS Bounty from history class, or from films like this one, starring Marlon Brando. But folks often forget the entire reason the Bounty sailed from England in the first place was all about the breadfruit. The British were looking for a cheap food to support their growing slave trade.
Nobody's ever heard of this before, then?
No one ever heard of the potato until Sir Francis Drake brought it from South America. It altered European economy. Breadfruit may alter it again.
This one right here and this one here, the white variety, they were two of the 5 varieties that Captain Bligh collected in Tahiti.
Diane Rigoni is the director of Hawaii's Breadfruit Institute.
This one, the Ma'afala from Samoa, this is the first variety that we've been distributing around the world.
Rigoni has analyzed the varieties and has been working to propagate the most nutrient-rich, fastest-growing ones in places where they could do the most good today.
There are about 1 billion hungry people on this planet, 80% of whom live in the tropics. And breadfruit grows in many of those tropical areas.
Worldwide, breadfruit still isn't all that popular. It's big in Barbados and has inspired a hit song in Jamaica.
Breadfruit, you want breadfruit? Just tell me if you want breadfruit, breadfruit.
But Rigoni thinks the fruit never really reached its full potential. That may be changing.
It's a rediscovery, and for a lot of people, it's a revelation because they knew nothing about breadfruit.
Today, Hawaiian businesses sell breadfruit pizza, breadfruit bagels, even breadfruit vodka.
The fruit can be used for home consumption, but then also sold to provide economic development and opportunity.
A company in Puerto Rico, where breadfruit is known as pana, sells breadfruit French fries. In Indonesia, they sell breadfruit chips. For islands so reliant on imports, breadfruit's a locally grown food source that could potentially be a lucrative export.
Breadfruit is part of our future, not just part of our past.
Connor Knighton has been island hopping again, and you won't believe what he's found this time.
The romantic Republic of Seychelles, nearly 1,000 miles off the eastern coast of Africa, is known for being a honeymoon hotspot. But I went there looking for love. The island nation is the only place in the entire world where you can find love nuts growing in the wild. The Seychelles coco de mer tree produces the largest seed of any plant. Known as love nuts, the seeds aren't just famous because of their size, they are famous because of their shape. A shape I will let a PhD in conservation biology describe for me.
So it's like the bottom of a female lady, so that's what it looks like.
Yup, that's what it looks like. Frauke Fleischer-Dogley is the chief executive officer of the Seychelles Island Foundation. There are 115 islands in the Seychelles, but the extremely rare coco de mer grows naturally on just 2 of them.
The trees we are looking at here did stand here before human even came and arrived on these islands.
The plant's location used to be a mystery. Residents of nearby islands would find the dried shells of the love nuts washed up along their shores. Since nobody had ever seen anything like them on land, the seeds were thought to have come from an underwater tree. Coco de mer literally means coconut of the sea.
So should I be worried that one's going to fall on my head?
Oh yeah, that would be your ticket to heaven.
Marc Jean-Baptiste is the site director for the Vallée de Mai Nature Reserve on Praslin Island. Here, the fruits of the coco de mer can grow to weigh over 30 pounds.
All right, let's see it.
Oh, wow. I'm embarrassed to say I'm struggling with this.
The The giant love nuts are only found on the female trees. They're pollinated with flowers that grow on the stems of the male trees.
And so, wait, this is female.
Yes.
This is the male?
Yeah, that's the male.
Come on, come on, what?
That's the male.
What?
It's really like
I don't know if we can
obvious.
show this. Just let's keep them apart.
In the Seychelles, these scandalous plants are celebrities. They're used as signs on male and female bathrooms. Visitors get a coco de mer stamped in their passports. The tree is featured on the national coat of arms. There's coco de mer jewelry and sculptures and bowls.
And inside, we have a canoe.
And of course, they're popular photo ops.
Look at me.
It's possible to buy a seed as a souvenir, but the sales are heavily regulated. Each nut costs several $100s. Not surprisingly, some cultures believe that the nuts are aphrodisiacs, which has led to an illegal trade.
When British General Charles Gordon visited the Seychelles in the 1880s, he was convinced he had discovered the actual Garden of Eden.
The coco de mer, he thought, was the original forbidden fruit. Today, the plants are protected by strict Seychelles law. The forest has been designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Did that happen?
Oh yeah, it happened.
But for locals like Marc Jean-Baptiste, a love of the love nut goes far beyond any local pride. He sees keeping these rare plants alive as his duty.
We have a responsibility for the entire globe to protect these species for future generations. So we hold a responsibility to be the guardian of the forbidden nut.
Island hopping is a passion for Connor Knighton. The smaller the island and the more unexpected, the better.
When France won the 2018 World Cup, this was the scene on the Champs-Élysées. But over 2,600 miles away from Paris, there was a much smaller, but no less enthusiastic celebration happening on the small Rue Maréchal Foch. Inside of the one sports bar on the island of St. Pierre, French flags were everywhere, waved and worn triumphantly, used to dry the occasional tear. It was a proud moment for all French citizens, especially for the 6,000 who live in a place most people forget is France.
Donc oui, nous sommes résolument français.
We are resolutely French, says Stéphane Lenormand, who serves as the president of the Territorial Council of St. Pierre and Miquelon, a small French territory which, based on its position on the map, might lead most people to assume it's part of Canada. Much of North America was once New France, but today, these islands are the last bits left. The French came for the fish.
St. Pierre exists and is still French today because of cod. It's really the main reason why people would come here. We have nothing else. I mean, if you look at the island, it's barren, almost no trees. You cannot grow that much things here. It was one of the richest places to fish cod in the world here. So you just had to have a boat and there you go.
Lauriane Detcheverry is the assistant director of l'Arche Museum, which tells the story of St. Pierre and Miquelon.
Something that can prove that you are really in France here is the presence of a guillotine. Guillotine was the only legal way to execute someone in France.
You can't shoot them, you can't...
No, it's not legal, no.
Only chopping off their head.
Exactly, yeah.
Nous n'avons ni échafaud,
The film The Widow of St. Pierre, starring Juliette Binoche, tells the story of the only time a guillotine was ever used in North America. The islands didn't have their own, so after a murder conviction in 1889, they asked to borrow a guillotine from Martinique, thousands of miles away. For months and months, the convicted prisoner just hung out and waited for the arrival of the only weapon that was allowed to kill him. Over the years, the islands have had quite a violent history.
So we changed hands many, many times. Quite often the city was destroyed and the population was deported.
For over a century, the islands passed back and forth between France and England, but the French kept coming back, and in 1816, they settled for good.
In a way, St. Pierre is a new world. It was a place where you could, become rich.
The most lucrative era in St. Pierre's history came entirely by accident. During Prohibition, St. Pierre became a bootlegging hotspot thanks to its proximity to the United States.
Prohibition was the best thing that happened to us, really. We did nothing to have it, but it was such a good idea for us, you know? People made so much money.
In more recent years, the economy has struggled. The once plentiful cod started to disappear, and in 1992, a moratorium on cod fishing in the North Atlantic all but shut down the once booming fisheries.
Ça a été un moment très difficile pour le territoire.
It was a very difficult time for the territory, Lenormand says. It took almost 20 years to recover and to rebuild. Today we have a fishing sector, but we are developing tourism. Tourists Richard Baum and Cheryl Rodness came to visit St. Pierre from New Jersey. Now, logistically, from New Jersey, what's easier to get to, here or Paris?
Oh, Paris.
Much easier.
Non-stop from Newark.
For Americans, a trip to St. Pierre and Miquelon can involve inconvenient flights and ferries. But the couple thought it would be a blast to spend Bastille Day, France's national holiday, in a place so unexpectedly French. Here, the wine flows freely. There's dancing and face painting. The locals play games of pétanque. Everything from the sausages to the ice cream is paid for in euros. Merci beaucoup. And any lingering doubt that you are, in fact, standing in France is gone the moment you step into one of the bakeries. The fresh baguettes and cakes are just as delicious as the ones you'd see sold in Marseille or Bordeaux. For locals, this is their way of life. For visitors, it's why they come to St. Pierre and Miquelon. It's a chance to get an authentic taste of France on this side of the Atlantic.
Connor Knighton is island hopping again. And this morning, he's taking us to an idyllic spot that's the cat's meow.
Welcome to paradise. These cats on the small Hawaiian island of Lanai have got it made. Amazing weather, meals served in their own cafeteria, occasional massages, and a steady influx of adoring fans ready to give them all the love and attention they could ever want.
All the cats are happy, like you could tell, like they are so friendly and you could tell they enjoy being here.
Lanai is the least visited of the publicly accessible Hawaiian islands. Overnight guests typically come to stay at the fancy Four Seasons resort down on the coast.
So pretty here.
But tourists with a cat fancy have started flying over just to spend time at a rustic outdoor sanctuary, known locally as the Fur Seasons.
95% of the cats that we bring into the sanctuary are completely feral, meaning they were born in the wild and they have never had any human interaction until us. There's enough for everybody.
Keone Vaughn is the executive director of the Lanai Cat Sanctuary, created to help address the island's feral cat problem.
I'm a 45-year-old male that runs a 600-cat sanctuary. I don't mind being labeled the crazy cat guy.
Yeah, it's really, the cat ladies get a bad rap. So you never hear about the crazy cat guys.
Time to break the mold. I'll be the crazy cat guy.
It was actually a lady named Cat with a crazy idea who got this project off the ground.
My name is Kathy, but people call me Cat, and I've always had an affinity for them since I was little. We always had a cat, one or two, but not 600. But
Kathy Carroll moved to Lanai in 2001 to open an art gallery with her husband. She was surprised when she discovered so many starving cats roaming around the island.
As you look around the sanctuary today, all the cats you see here were roaming in town or down at the resort, at the golf course, and in pretty sad shape, either very hungry, homeless cats.
Cats were originally brought to Hawaii long ago on passing ships. Lanai's open spaces and lack of predators led to an explosion in the feral cat population. On the cliffs right beside the Four Seasons, cats were running wild and destroying the wildlife.
The cats began to prey on native birds, like the wedge-tailed shearwater, which nest right into the sand.
In the higher elevations, cats discovered the endangered petrel. a Hawaiian bird that is especially vulnerable. Since the cats are an invasive species in Hawaii, there was a fear that they might be euthanized. But this cat had a different idea.
Those birds are protected by state law and federal law. And we wanted to find a way to love and protect the cats, love and protect the birds, and help the community.
Now, the cats that are trapped on the island are brought to this enclosed sanctuary. There's no vet, so twice a month, one flies over from Honolulu. While some of the feral cats spend all day in hiding, those who do venture out receive no shortage of attention.
This is probably our 12th time at the cat sanctuary, and we stay for like an hour, 2 hours at a time. The kids just love it.
The First Seasons has turned into a surprisingly popular attraction. Only 3,000 or so people live on Lanai, so the sanctuary survives on donations from outside visitors.
In the last 12 months, we've had over 10,000 visitors. People from all over the world of all ages come here, and it's really, really nice to see their smiles on their face. And it's really great that all these cats are getting the attention.
Today, there are definitely still feral cats roaming wild on Lanai, but I didn't see any. Maybe the word is starting to get out.
If I was a cat, I'd be knocking on the door like, hey, how do I get into this place?
It's a place that the humans seem to enjoy just as much as the felines. Just be careful not to fall too deeply in love, or else you might end up going home with a cuddly souvenir. All of these cats are available for adoption.
Summer vacation season is in full swing. Orlando is America's top tourist destination, according to AAA. It's followed by Honolulu and Anchorage in Alaska. Or you could get creative and go island hopping with Connor Knighton.
It seems to be a little world within itself. When Charles Darwin first wrote about his 1835 visit to the Galápagos Islands, most of the world had never heard of this place. They would. 2 decades later, after Darwin referenced the wonders he saw here in his groundbreaking On the Origin of Species, this small chain of islands off the coast of Ecuador would be forever associated with his theory of evolution. But it took another century for the Galapagos to begin to evolve into a tourist destination. Darwin didn't exactly sell it. He described the marine iguana, only found here, as an imp of darkness, a hideous-looking creature, stupid and sluggish in its movements. But today, it's a bucket list photo op. The first wave of shutterbugs came just 51 years ago, brought by Swedish entrepreneur Lars Erik Lindblad.
When I think back on him, I just miss him all the time because he was clairvoyant. He was so far ahead of his time. People have asked me, how many times have you been to the Galapagos? About 50 times.
Sven Lindblad's father, who died in 1994, is considered one of the fathers of ecotourism and expedition cruising.
In essence, a ship's no more than a means of transport. But there are ships and ships. It's what you see on the way that makes the difference.
His ships brought the first organized tour groups to Antarctica, to Easter Island, and in 1967, to the Galapagos. An explorer at heart, Lindblad mostly wanted to see these places for himself.
He thought about becoming a missionary, but he wasn't religious, so that was a bit of a problem. And then he decided to get in the travel industry, primarily as a vehicle to explore the world.
Lars Erik built his business by taking adventurous vacationers to exotic destinations they'd never really considered before.
With the temperature just right, in your own luxurious cabin.
In doing so, he tapped into a lucrative niche: cruises for people who don't like cruises.
Have you ever done a traditional cruise?
No, once.
And never again?
I always say we did it twice, the first time and the last time. No.
Bunny Fortier has taken 8 trips with the company, which Sven runs today. There are no casinos or karaoke on these boats.
Charles Darwin was 31 years old.
Instead, naturalists give daily presentations.
Cruising, I think, is inward looking. It's about the ship. Expedition cruising, it's really about the outside. It's what's outside of the ship.
Expedition cruising is one of the fastest growing sectors in the cruise business. Visitors are paying many thousands of dollars to sail to places that still feel wild and pristine.
None of the animals seem to care at all that we're right up next to them, and they just keep doing their thing.
Of course, it's a business model that only works if these places stay pristine. Today, more than 220,000 visitors travel to the Galápagos each year. The national park has had to step in, strictly regulating how frequently each cruise company can visit each site.
When's the soonest you can come back to this place again?
In 14 days.
Oh, so you have to stagger it.
You have to stagger it.
Sven says he welcomes the restrictions.
Nobody is going to do business in a degraded world, of any kind, you know? We're not going to do business on a dead planet.
Sven's father knew that from day one. Lars Erik paid the salaries of the first 2 Galapagos National Park rangers. It was an investment in the future, a hope that the same wonders that Darwin saw would still be there for future generations of explorers to enjoy.
Adios!
Adios!
Connor Knighton has been island hopping again, and on this royal wedding weekend, he's found the perfect destination.
I flew 13,374 miles from Los Angeles to London to Johannesburg to Windhoek, Namibia, before I finally touched down on this patch of royal soil in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And believe it or not, that was the easy way to get here.
This island has been here in the middle of the South Atlantic, 6 days away from anywhere, for 500 years.
Governor Lisa Honan is the Queen's representative in St. Helena, a British island that's over 4,500 miles south of Great Britain. Commercial flights only started arriving here in October. Before that, the only way in or out was on a boat. The Royal Mail ship, the RMS St. Helena, sailed its final voyage earlier this year.
There wasn't a dry eye in the island when the ship sailed away. People were down at the quayside, crying, waving.
Now, it's up to a controversial new $400 million airport to serve as the lifeline for the 4,000 people who live here.
Well, the locals call ourselves saints. Yeah, and we're referred to as saints. Or
That's not a bad path to sainthood.
I like that. I'm a saint.
Yeah, by birth you're a saint.
Giselle Richards was born here and is the owner of G Unique Designs, a small shop selling handmade jewelry as unique as the saints themselves.
You look at 5 different St. Helenians, we all look completely different, yeah? Because we have so many cultural influences in terms of ancestry that none of us look the same.
Originally discovered by the Portuguese, St. Helena received its first British settlers in 1659 when the East India Company took possession. It became a vital, heavily fortified trading stop, and in its heyday, the bustling port was hosting up to 3 ships a day. The residents today are the descendants of the soldiers, settlers, and slaves who came to the island. But St. Helena's most famous resident came to the island over 200 years ago. He was sent here. Napoleon Bonaparte was exiled to St. Helena in 1815. A year earlier, he'd escaped from exile on the island of Elba. This time, the British weren't taking any chances.
So then they decided to send Napoleon to the only place which can guarantee his no return ticket.
Michel Donquan Martineau is the director of Longwood House, the home where Napoleon lived and died while on St. Helena. Napoleon rarely left Longwood and cut holes in the shutters so he could stay inside and spy on the people who were assigned to watch him.
So 169 was his height, 1.69 m, so his eye level will be here.
just so he could peep out and look at the world. That's so sad that he just sort of kept himself enclosed in here. Outside, the stunning landscape looks nothing like what you might find back in the UK. But in the capital city of Jamestown, sandwiched into a volcanic valley, the narrow streets and colorful buildings feel as if they could exist on the outskirts of London.
We still feel that we're British through and through, you know. My grandmother still has all the commemorative plates of the Queen in our house, you know. Every wedding we get all of the merchandise, you know. We are proudly British, I think, yes.
Aaron Legg is a tour guide on the island, a job which, right now, gives him just a few customers a week. In 2016, officials discovered it was too windy for larger planes to safely land on St. Helena's cliff top. A miscalculation that meant that instead of an optimistic 30,000 tourists a year, the island is now hoping for just 3,000. Those few who do make the journey are generally pretty easy to spot.
You can tell which are the tourists because they don't wave. Everyone else waves.
I'm too afraid of driving on the other side of the road. Don't blame me for not waving.
Yeah.
On a small island where everyone knows everyone, there's no room for any stereotypical British reserve.
We've always been told that we're friendly and welcoming, and it's not until you get here that you realize that it's genuine, it's not a put-on show, so enjoy it.
Now that getting here has gotten slightly easier, St. Helena is hoping the rest of the world might finally come to enjoy what this remote island has to offer. A place that was once a useful stopover is now ready to become known as a destination.
In the months to come, our Connor Knighton is doing some island hopping. First stop, a tiny speck in the Pacific Ocean.
This is the dawn's earliest light, the first rays of sun that shine down on U.S. soil. Every morning, America wakes up on Wake Island.
Guam claims to be where America's day begins, but that's not technically true.
1,500 miles further east, right next to the international date line, there's a tiny speck of land, a military base, where the sign on the airstrip once read, "Where America's day really begins." There just aren't that many Americans out here full-time who get to see it.
Well, permanently, there's only 4 of us.
Captain Alan James spent the past year as the commander of Detachment 1, 4 airmen out in the middle of the ocean.
You are on American soil.
Well,
does it feel like that?
No. It feels like we are our own little country is really what it feels like.
Wake is an atoll, 3 small islands, annexed by the U.S. in 1899 after the Navy decided they might have strategic significance. Before that, the place was thought to be, well, for the birds. Hundreds of thousands of them.
This place, well, it belongs to the birds. You know, for millions of years, that's all that was here.
The atoll is a national wildlife refuge. Researcher John Gilardi periodically comes to Wake to study the migratory seabirds, like the sooty terns, that stop here on their journey across the ocean. As soon as humans took to the skies, we started using Wake in the exact same way. It was, and is, an important refueling stop for aircraft heading out across the Pacific. It may be the world's most scenic gas station.
Nice. Ultimately, it's a government installation, and it's used for operational purposes. It's not a vacation spot, you know. So.
If you're a civilian and you want to come.
Right, you can't.
That wasn't always the case. Pan American passengers used to explore Wake on luxurious layovers.
At Wake Island, transformed from a desolate coral strand to a club-like airport, come relaxation and refueling.
Pan Am built a hotel here in 1935, and tourists would fish and snorkel in the pristine waters. But Wake wasn't a paradise for long.
In an hour and 5 minutes, the battleship Arizona was completely destroyed.
In 1941, on the same day that Japanese forces bombed Pearl Harbor, they also attacked Wake Island.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
Except, on the other side of the dateline, it was actually December 8th. For 2 weeks, a group of brave Marines and civilian contractors held off the Japanese.
Prepare to engage.
The Oscar-nominated 1942 film Wake Island depicts the battle
Open fire! Open fire!
in which far greater casualties were suffered by the Japanese. Eventually, though, the American fighters were overwhelmed. Most were shipped off to internment camps in Asia, but not all.
98 POWs were kept, and they just did hard labor for the Japanese.
98 Rock is a hastily carved memorial to those men. After a year and a half, the prisoners were executed by the Japanese, but not before one managed to swim across the lagoon and scratch out the date that he and 97 other civilians were massacred. The United States retook Wake 2 years later. Today, civilian contractors still play a large role on Wake. On any given day, there may be 100 or so people here, working to maintain roads and runways. Every 2 weeks, a flight from Honolulu makes the 6-hour journey to deliver new supplies and personnel.
The first day after that airplane arrives usually is the day people are looking forward to because it's fresh food.
In the dining hall, you'll notice Thai dishes on the menu. Over half the workforce is Thai. Some, like Sa Wang Sak, have lived out here for decades.
So you're an old timer. What does that mean? How long have you been on Wake?
Well, I started on 91.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I visited Wake on the last night of Captain James' deployment. Like most nights, the entire island was hanging out at Drifter's Reef, Wake's only bar. The karaoke goes late into the evening, and for a minute, it's easy to forget you're thousands of miles from home. Thousands of miles from anywhere. There's no place like this in the world.
I can't say enough about how great this experience has been. It's been a highlight in my life for sure.
When the sun sets on Wake Island, it hasn't even come up yet in New York. For the rest of America, Wake Island lies firmly in the future. But for the few who have lived and worked here, the island is a constant reminder of the past.
The houseboat is the floating home of choice for many an Amsterdam resident. Lee Cowan has found a designing couple who've taken the idea of waterborne living even further.
So do you come out every day just to catch what you're going to eat that day?
Yeah, catch fresh.
Wayne Adams is about the closest thing you'll ever find to a marine mammal on 2 legs.
Atta boy, good one. It's what they call a copper.
Yeah?
That's a nice one too.
Yeah? In fact, I'm pretty sure he had more in common with the fish I caught than he did with me. Wayne rarely sets foot on dry land, not even when he makes his way home to his wife, Catherine King, because their home ebbs and flows with the tide too.
I remember phoning my parents from town and I said, we're living out on the ocean. And my dad said, what do you mean you're living on the ocean?
Welcome to Freedom Cove, a multicolored floating refuge, way past the end of any road, tucked away in rugged Clayoquot Sound, off the west coast of British Columbia's Vancouver Island. What do you say to people who think this is a little odd or a little strange?
Thank you very much.
Yeah?
Yeah, truly. Nice to be recognized for who I am.
They've lived this waterworld lifestyle for the last 25 years, building and rebuilding. It all sits atop about a dozen interlocking steel docks that Wayne salvaged from an old fish farm. In fact, everything here is fashioned from reclaimed material, a habitat designed from what's available when it's available. Wayne takes particular pleasure out of rearranging it all, towing parts of his home around like a buoyant jigsaw puzzle.
It's flexible, it moves in storms, goes up and down and around about 20 feet. So it's a pure physics, a pure experience thing and learn by doing.
It's as much a design project as it is an art project. In fact, both Wayne and Catherine are artists by trade. Carvers, mostly. That's what brought them out to the wilderness in the first place.
It was about being inspired by nature and our work being inspired by nature and wanting to come out and live it and experience it and then have that inspiration come through what we do.
The nearest town is 10 miles away by boat. They make the trip every few weeks, but mostly this is a subsistence lifestyle.
Nothing like fresh potatoes from the garden.
Yeah, we had a lot last year.
They grow almost everything they eat on their floating farm. It's Catherine's charge mostly. She tends the garden come rain or shine.
Gardening is my passion.
But it's more than just a passion, though. You have to do this. This is how you live.
A passion and a necessity.
And is this one all ready?
That one's ready for planting, yes.
They are willing castaways, wanting for little more than the seals do, the ones that play in their front yard. They have a waterfall for fresh water, timber for heat, and the sun to charge their onboard batteries, when it's not raining, that is.
Does it ever get lonely? Do you feel lonely? I mean, I know you have each other, but...
I can't say I feel lonely. We're always busy.
But I like people. I'm a people person too. I like folks, but in doses. I don't mind my own company. There he is. There's the eagle.
It's not an easy life.
You ready?
But your version of feeding the birds is feeding bald eagles? The freedom of floating has a way of anchoring you to what really matters.
At this point, we would like to be here till the end of our days, if we can make that possible.
Till the toe tag, brother. Yeah, that's the plan. We came and made it home.
A home not so much off the grid as it is in tune with everything else.
Could these golden stems be the true spice of life? Lee Cowan traveled all the way to Hawaii to find out.
Not far from the surfer's paradise of Lanai on Kauai's North Shore, grows a spice as golden as a Hawaiian sunrise that might just offer our bodies the same kind of healthy glow. It's called turmeric, a member of the ginger family, that before it's washed, looks a bit like an ugly carrot. Turmeric is not a root, but a rhizome, which means its stem is where all the good stuff is found. Native to India, turmeric has been around for thousands of years, but only recently has caught on here in the West. Now, people can't get enough.
This year, do you know how many thousands of pounds of turmeric you're going to ship out?
Tonnage.
Tonnage.
Tonnage. Major tonnage.
Phil Green and his wife Linda bought this 45-acre farm over a decade ago.
Oh man, this is a beautiful day, isn't it?
Yeah. They had planned a semi-quiet retirement.
How many buckets we got, Uncle?
Until turmeric became one of the most talked about new superfoods.
Did you know what it was?
Barely. To me, turmeric was a powdered spice in a jar that stayed on your shelf until you made a curry recipe, you know.
Curries are its most common use, but turmeric's taste is only part of its allure. Scattered to the wind, it's a sacred part of Hindu ceremonies. It's also been used as a dye for fabrics. It's even what gives mustard its bright yellow hue. But the very thing that makes turmeric so colorful, a compound called curcumin, is what some researchers say also makes it a powerful weapon against disease.
We are doing clinical trials on Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, arthritis, diabetes.
And it seems to have an effect on all these different conditions?
Absolutely. It is such a wonderful compound that it has been shown to work in every single instance people have tried.
Biophysicist A.J. Goyle has been studying its medicinal qualities at Baylor University Medical Center in Dallas. He says thousands of studies have shown that in a concentrated enough dose, the curcumin in turmeric is not only proven to be an effective antioxidant and anti-inflammatory, but also shows promise in preventing and even treating something as serious as cancer.
We are trying to understand is what are the processes, what are the mechanisms, how it functions.
So you know it works for the most part, you're just not quite sure why.
Yes, so exactly.
While he says more research needs to be done, the word is already out at trend-setting restaurants like Cafe Gratitude in Los Angeles. Here, turmeric is mixed with steamed almond milk or blended into a shot, served with a dose of cayenne pepper.
That's gonna be spicy. That's called I Am Brave. That has turmeric, ginger, lemon.
Whoa. Cafe Gratitude's co-owner, Ryland Engelhardt.
In a petri dish that can knock out, like, diseases.
Yeah, it's got a kick.
I mean, it's crazy. It's become a phenomenon. It is the buzzword in the health world.
So much so, Google's Food Trends report called turmeric a rising star of 2016.
Is it as good as all the hype? Is it as healthy? Is it as good for us?
People love it. They come back for it. Do I exactly know what it's providing for people? No.
The Greens aren't sure either. But if it's both healthy and a cash crop, so be it.
Farmers grow what people want, what people demand, and so we kept increasing because it kept selling.
We've all heard the advice, eat the colors of the rainbow. Here in Hawaii, this brightly colored spice just might be the pot of gold at the end of one tube.
We were headed to an island labeled Aoshima on the map, but it's better known by its nickname, Cat Island.
You can actually see the cats coming down to meet the boat here as we approach.
Here, cats outnumber humans more than 10 to 1. This tiny fishing village once had a population of 800 people, but the sardine fisheries depleted, jobs moved to cities, and human residents left the island. Now there are just 16 people here and more than 160 cats. It's an adjustment for visiting reporters. Misato Kamioka is not exactly the official historian, but she's lived here for nearly 40 years.
How did this become an island of cats?
There used to be a lot of mice and not many cats, she remembered. Some cats were let loose, others were abandoned. And the rest, as they say, is history.
I suspect you've got your mice population under control now.
No mice problem, she said. There's a sort of predictable rhythm on Cat Island. A neighborly dispute or two, some eating, some sleeping, and some more eating. The big moment of the day is when the tourist boat shows up. It's 45 minutes of bliss for all involved. We asked school lunch lady Hitomi Goto why the Japanese love cats so much. Cats do as they please, but we can't do that, she said, referring to her regimented life. Cats go where they want and snooze when they feel like it. So leaving my work to see them is very relaxing.
This was another cat island.
We were shown pictures of other cat islands.
So you've been to 3 cat islands and you've been to 2 cat islands?
Yep, there are about 10 across the country. In Japan, cats are featured on TV shows, and of course, this is the land where Hello Kitty was born. We'd heard about another must-see stop for the cat crazed in Japan, and we went to meet the cat station master. Tama II and predecessor Tama are credited with saving this rail station with a cat-like look in rural western Japan. Ridership had shrunk and the train line was in the red until a railway boss, quote, looked into the eyes of a cat at a local concession stand and decided to make it the station master. It's an honorary title. The only work involved is looking cute and attracting tourists, but it's worked. Back on Cat Island, these felines have left their mark. On the jetty, it's not beer cans, but cans of tuna scattered about. Even the humans can be seen sneaking a cat nap. We'd met Ruji Hidaka on the ferry. He'd come alone, but then connected with a fellow cat lover. He told us this was paradise and said he'd like to return.
It's not enough to just see it once?
No, it's not enough, he replied. I would like to live here. I smiled and tried to withhold judgment. This place is not everyone's definition of paradise. As the afternoon ferry pulled out, people waved to the cats, though it seemed a rather one-sided goodbye. Japan has a rabbit island too, but we'll save that for another story.
There is hardly a more maligned meat than Spam.
Spam, 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 spam. Hormel's new miracle meat in a can.
But if you think it's just a culinary punchline, you haven't spent enough time here. The Hawaiian Islands, known for their trade winds and rainbows, are also a spamaholic's paradise. In fact, no state eats more.
So it's a staple, everybody eats it here. How are we doing today?
On the island of Kauai, at the Foodland grocery store that Orlando Dutute manages, Spam is as plentiful as sunblock.
I can't believe how many different varieties you have. This is amazing. It's a rainbow of Spam.
I know, 14 flavors.
14?
14 varieties, yeah.
There's Spam with cheese, Spam with garlic, with turkey and jalapeno. And nothing says aloha quite like Spam-flavored macadamia nuts. In fact, the taste of Spam is so popular in Hawaii, you can even order it at McDonald's.
We call it Hawaiian prime rib or Hawaiian roast beef.
Hawaii's love of all things Spam started during World War II. Millions of pounds of the stuff were shipped to GIs in the South Pacific, largely because it didn't spoil in the tropical sun. But when the servicemen left, the Spam stayed and just became part of the island diet. By far the favorite local dish is what's called a Spam musubi. It looks a bit like sushi. Robert Kuboto's grandmother taught him how to make it the island way.
It's like Asian culture, Western culture, everything was mixed up, put it all together, wrap it in nori, and here you go.
Spam has even entered the kitchens of the touristy restaurants, like Tiki and Iki, where ordering the Spam burger has become as daring as the owner's blue hairdo.
So what do the tourists think?
Most people say that's the best burger they've ever had. Or, oh my God, it was good. It was amazing.
The cocktails have a lot to do with it as well.
Yeah.
Mixing Spam in with the ground beef was Michelle's husband's idea. Music legend Todd Rundgren. Remember, Hello, It's Me? Rundgren says he wrote that, and plenty of others, while eating plenty of Spam.
He has been eating Spam since he was little.
Really? No worse than a hot dog.
No, it's not.
It's
It's
way
better than
better
a hot
than
dog. It doesn't have any snouts or anuses in it, as far as I know.
You can't say that on TV.
Yes, you can.
Say that.
The good folks at Hormel Foods, an ocean away in chilly Austin, Minnesota, tell us that Spam is mostly pork shoulder and salt, and not much else. Spam is cooked in its own can. They rattle through the plant at an astonishing pace. Donnie Temperley is vice president of Hormel's grocery products division. How many cans are coming off here every day?
We're running about 395 cans a minute, so we've created a real Spam highway right here next to us.
Since its invention in 1937, Hormel has sold 8 billion cans.
Spam is the meat that you should buy. Spam is different, and here is why.
But marketing the food with the quirky name has always been a curious challenge. At first, Spam was touted for its canned convenience.
Fabulous to eat, taste the pork and taste the ham in Spam.
Then, for its versatility.
You don't say ham, you say Spam. Spam is real spiced ham.
But it was Monty Python
Spam, 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 eggs and Spam.
who did more for Spam than perhaps any commercial ever could.
Could I have egg, bacon, Spam and sausage without the Spam? What do you mean? I don't like Spam.
Spam's marketing director, Nicole Bainey, says Spam's kitsch may be its best selling point.
People make up love songs about Spam. We have a fan that actually created a rocket out of Spam cans. People make musical instruments out of Spam. So there's a lot of fun that's had out there with our brand.
Not everything's funny. Hormel wasn't laughing when spam officially entered the dictionary as a word to define unwanted emails.
And we're excited about it.
But Hormel's CEO, Jeff Ettinger, says the company realized that having a sense of humor about its flagship product was really the only way to go.
I think maybe our low moment with it was when we decided to sue the Muppets. There was a movie they put out, I Am Spam, that had a spam character that was an evil character, and I think that was kind of a turning point to say, you know, I guess we really need to be with the joke.
This seemingly indestructible meat has been matched by its indestructible image. It's fed armies, it's helped America through recessions, and has endured as a true slice of Americana.
In the blue and yellow pan, say spam.
Horses arrived with the Spanish in the 1500s. Now they far outnumber the 30-something humans who live on Cumberland. It's a sliver of an island, not quite 20 miles long, just off the Georgia coast. A wild and magical place of spectacular beauty, where nature feels large and people small, which is why they love it here.
This is the place. This little church was built by freed slaves. This is where John and Carolyn got married.
If you've ever heard of Cumberland Island, possibly it's because this was where the late John F. Kennedy Jr. married Carolyn Bessette.
It was absolutely extraordinary. There was no light. We had one candle up here. It was just the most magical moment.
Gogo Ferguson, whose family has been on the island for 7 generations, arranged the wedding.
By then, I'd known him for 20 years, and he was very attached to Cumberland. It was a place that he knew he could have his privacy. And he was very passionate about this history.
But this story is about her love of that history and how it's shaped her life. Once, Native Americans lived on the island. Then the Spanish, the French, and the British came and went. Their missions and forts gone now. Revolutionary War hero General Nathaniel Greene bought thousands of acres of land on Cumberland in 1783. His wife and daughter's graves remain. The chimneys of a few slave cabins are all that's left from the island's years as a cotton plantation before the Civil War. Its next incarnation was as a rich man's vacation playground.
The story of Plum Orchard is truly all about family.
The family in question? The Carnegies. Yes, those Carnegies.
Plum Orchard is 22,000 square feet, so it's monstrous.
In the 1880s, Thomas Carnegie, iron and steel magnate Andrew Carnegie's brother and partner, bought up most of Cumberland Island. Mansions were built for his children, including Plum Orchard. Carnegie built an even bigger house, Dungeness, for himself. It was the scene of grand family gatherings. Here was the Gilded Age, in the middle of a wilderness. In 1959, Dungeness burned. By then, the family's fortunes were in decline, but Cumberland was in their blood, especially Thomas Carnegie's rather eccentric granddaughter, Lucy's. She passed her fierce passion for the island on to Gogo Ferguson, her granddaughter.
This is Grandma with an alligator. I'm not so sure it's alive, but it's a fabulous picture.
Growing up, Gogo, whose real name is Janet, spent all her holidays and summers with her grandmother.
She always wore a bandana on her head and a buck knife, and that was all day long and even for a dinner party. She had deer that had been abandoned here that she raised on a bottle. She gave us all this incredible sense of nature that most people don't have.
In 1978, divorced, in need of work, Gogo took Hannah, her small daughter, home. to Cumberland Island, where, like her grandmother, she found beauty and purpose in nature.
This is an alligator skull, horse skull. This is from a humpback whale.
Her house looks like a natural history museum.
And these are all bones?
Well, it's bones. This is a megalodon shark's tooth. I would rather have all of these treasures than jewels.
Except that's exactly what she's turned them into.
Pull your hair back a little bit. I think that if somehow we can hinge this.
Her love of everything Cumberland became her living. She transforms her odd island finds into jewelry and housewares. Her daughter Hannah works with her now.
There are always these buckets outside of our house with bones, and they seemed to be steaming to me. In my imagination, I imagined her as a witch, a good witch, but still a witch on Cumberland nonetheless.
If I'm hiking through the woods or, walking down the sand dunes, I can spot the whiteness of a bone anywhere.
Gogo Ferguson is always looking down, collecting something. It's as if she can't help herself. But when she looks up, she doesn't like what she sees.
I've seen so many of the historic structures fall in by demolition by neglect, and that really bothers me greatly.
Demolition by neglect. One of her examples, the pool house next to Dungeness, as it looked originally and now.
Somehow they determined that they shouldn't let it fall in. That part of the history is erased forever.
By they, she means the National Park Service. In 1972, to prevent the island from being developed, members of the Carnegie family gave or sold most of their land and many buildings to the National Park Service, and the Cumberland Island National Seashore was created. The problem has been the money to maintain it all.
I think we're doing an adequate job in some very lean times.
Fred Boyles recently retired as superintendent of the Cumberland Island National Seashore. He admits the Park Service made a decision to maintain some buildings, but let others go.
It's always been a struggle to set the priorities on where the funding goes.
So just let them fall in?
Well, if it's too far gone, when a building can't be restored, then it's just not a good management decision.
But even as her family's history surrenders to nature, Gogo Ferguson finds her sustenance here.
I can't think of any other place I'd want to be. I get everything from Cumberland Island, my sense of design, my sense of color. Cumberland is just part of my soul.